Good morning, children. Today we are going to study our new lesson is heat flow and temperature. So our new lesson is lesson number 4, heat flow and temperature. Okay. So in this lesson we are going to study what is meant by heat. Heat is the transfer of energy from a hot body to cold body. That means I am having two bodies. One body is hot body and another body is cold body. So the transfer of heat energy or the transfer of energy from the hot body to the cold body, it is known as the heat, and it can be understood by the sense of touch. The sense of touch can be used to understand the degree of hotness or coldness of something. That means the body which is hot, by touching that we can say that, or we can understand that how much it is hot or cold. But the sense of touch is not reliable and cannot be always used to say how much hot anything is. So by touching or by the sense of touch we can say that it is hot or cold, but not all the times we cannot say it is how much hot. We cannot rely on that. Using the sense of touch can be risky also. Okay, in case if the object is so much hot, by touching sometimes it may be risky also. Okay, hotness of anything is measured by the terms of temperature. Okay, for that measuring how much it is hot, we are using a term called temperature. Okay, it is most reliable way also. To measure temperature, a device called thermometer is used. So now I am having one body, so I want to know how much hot it is. For that what I will do means I will use a device called thermometer and I will measure in the terms of temperature. Okay, now coming to unit of heat. What are the unit of heat? There are three units which are used to measure the temperature. That is, first one is degree Celsius, second one is Kelvin, and third one is Fahrenheit. So there are three units to measure the heat, that is degree Celsius, Kelvin and Fahrenheit. So coming to degree Celsius, what is degree Celsius is? Degree Celsius is also written as degree C, centigrade, and read as degree Celsius or simply Celsius. Then coming to Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit is written as degrees F, degree Celsius is written as degrees C. Coming to Fahrenheit, it is written as degrees F and read as degree Fahrenheit, and Kelvin is written as K. So the device used to measure the temperature is its thermometer. So let's see what is thermometer. Thermometer is a device which is used to measure temperature. Thermometer is made up of a long narrow glass tube with a bulb at one end. The narrow tube appears as a continuous silver line because it is filled with mercury. Mercury is a metal which is in liquid state at room temperature, and it readily expands or contracts at the slightest change in temperature. Hence mercury is used in thermometer. So let's see, this is structure of thermometer. It is made up of glass stem. It is made up of narrow long glass tube. This is the narrow long glass tube with a bulb. This is the bulb at one. This is one end and this is another end. So one end it is containing bulb, and in the middle it is containing a glass line, that is vacuum tube or capillary tube. Not vacuum tube, it is capillary tube. It is containing a capillary tube. Inside the capillary tube it is containing mercury. It is filled with mercury, and mercury, we know that mercury is liquid at the room temperature. It is a metal. Mercury is a metal. It is only the metal which is liquid at the room temperature, and it expands or contracts when if there is any slight difference in the temperature also, this mercury will expand or contracts. That means what will happen means this mercury will move in this capillary tube. That means see here, now this is the mercury. When there is slight change or if the temperature is increased, what will happen means this mercury will expand. That means the position of mercury from here to, it will expand to the another position. Again, if there is any change, that is, if the temperature is decreased, what will happen means the expanded mercury, it will be contracts. This is the structure of the thermometer. So thermometers are of two types, that is, some of them are not only two. The one type is laboratory thermometer and the second one is clinical thermometer. So what is laboratory thermometer? Let's see. Laboratory thermometer is used to measure the temperature. The scale of temperature is graduated generally from -10 degrees to 110 degrees centigrade. Okay. If the temperature is below 1 degree or if it is up to -10 degrees centigrade, and if it is above 100 degrees, that means nearly to the 110 degrees centigrade, this laboratory thermometer is used. Okay. Once again I am saying it is centigrades. Okay. -10 degrees centigrade to the 110 degrees centigrade, laboratory thermometer is used. And between this, each division is of temperature is further divided into 10 parts. Now coming to our next type is clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometer is used to measure the body temperature. Okay. For measuring our body temperature, we will not use the laboratory thermometer. We will use the clinical thermometer to measure the body temperature. Differences between clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. So both the clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer both are not same. So what is the differences between clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer is, clinical thermometer, it is scaled from 35 degrees to 42 degrees centigrade, or if I convert this centigrade into the Fahrenheit, it is graduated, or it is scaled from 94 degrees Fahrenheit to the 108 degrees Fahrenheit, or 35 degrees centigrade to the 42 degrees centigrade. And mercury level does not fall on its own. Which one? It is in the clinical thermometer. That means the level of mercury, it will not fall on its own, because it is containing a kink near the bulb to prevent the fall of the mercury. So what is this kink is? Kink is, generally if we see the thermometer, so here this is the structure of a clinical thermometer. So here it is the glass stem, middle capillary tube, bulb. When compared to the laboratory thermometer, clinical thermometer will contains an additional, that is kink, which will not allow the fall of the mercury in its own, or when this clinical thermometer is removed from the body which is having hot, or when the clinical thermometer is removed from the body, it will not allow the mercury to come to its own position. So here presence of the kink is there. Okay, this is the kink, okay, which is absent in the laboratory thermometer. Because of this presence of this kink, temperature can be read after removing the thermometer also. So this is clinical thermometer. Now coming to the laboratory thermometer. Once again I am repeating clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometer is scaled from 35 degrees to 42 degrees, that is 94 degrees Fahrenheit to 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Mercury level does not fall on its own, as there is, why means because as there is kink near the bulb to prevent the fall of mercury level. Temperature can be read after removing the thermometer. This is clinical thermometer. Now coming to the laboratory thermometer. Laboratory thermometer is generally scaled from -10 degrees centigrade to the 110 degrees centigrade. Clinical thermometer is scaled from 35 degrees centigrade to the 42 degrees centigrade, and laboratory thermometer is scaled from -10 degrees centigrade to the 110 degrees centigrade. Mercury level does not fall on its own in clinical thermometer, but coming to the laboratory thermometer, mercury level fall on its own because in clinical thermometer kink is present. Now only I shown. Then coming to laboratory thermometer, kink is absent because there is no kink. That's why mercury level will fall on its own. Coming to clinical thermometer, it is containing kink. Kink is present and kink is absent in laboratory thermometer. These are the major differences between laboratory thermometer and clinical thermometer. Now coming to transfer of heat. Heat is transferred by three methods, that is either maybe by conduction or convection and radiation. So any one of this method is used for the transference of the heat. First let's see conduction. What is meant by conduction? Transfer of heat from one particle to adjacent particle is known as conduction. In solids, heat is transferred by the process of conduction. Example of conduction is when one end of an iron rod is put over flame, then part which is near the flame is heated first and heat is gradually transferred to the other end of the rod. So what is it meaning means? So first I am having one flame, here I am having flame. So just over the flame I placed one rod. So this is end A and this is end B. So one is end A and another one is end B. Here I place the rod in one end of the flame. Now this end will become hot. Slowly what will happen means, if I touch the end B, B also will become hot. What is the reason means, the hot from A, it will travel to B also. How it will travel means, from the particle at A, it is heated. Now the heat will be transferred to B, from another particle to another particle to another. So finally it will reaches to the B and B also will be heated. In solids, heat is transferred by this process only, that is conduction only, okay, not by convection and not by the radiation. It is by conduction only. And examples of conduction is, all the metals are examples. For this we can say that. Now coming to, based on this, we can divide the materials into two types, that is they are conductors and at the same time some of the materials are insulators. So what is conductor is, material which allow the pass of heat through it is called conductor. That means now I will take one rod and here I place the rod in one end. After some time, if I touch the end B also, it will becomes hot. What is the reason means, heat from A, it is transferred to B. That means this material allowed the passage of heat through them. Such materials are known as conductors. Example is iron, copper, aluminium are example of the conductor. Now coming to our another material, another type is insulators. That means materials which does not allow the pass through them are called bad conductor or poor conductor of heat. Example is rubber, wood and plastic. Once again, here I am having flame. So this, I placed a big stick. This is end A, this is end B. Okay, so I am heating this end A. If I go and touch the B end also, I will not get heat because this material not allow the flow of heat through them. Such materials are known as poor conductors of heat or bad conductors of heat. And example is rubber, wood, plastic, etc. are examples of this bad conductor, that is insulators. Our next topic is convection. Materials which do, convection. So what is convection is, the transfer of heat because of movement of the molecules of the medium, that is mass transfer, is called convection or convection of the heat. In case of conduction, molecules are not moving from the place where it is present, from the place to another place, molecules will not move. That means there is no movement in the molecules. But coming to here convection case, because of the movement of the molecules, heat is transferred. So sea breeze, example of convection is sea breeze and land breeze. So what is sea breeze is, in coastal areas, the breeze that move from sea surface to the land is called sea breeze. Then coming to land breeze, what is land breeze is, in coastal areas, the breeze which moves from land towards the sea is called land breeze. So once again, let's see what is convection is. The transfer of heat because of movement of the molecules of medium via mass transfer is called convection of heat. An example of that is, we know water and air are bad conductors of heat, but they do become hot. See, air will become hot, at the same time water also will become hot. How they will become hot means, in spite they are bad conductors, they will become hot. How they means, this heat transfer will take place in liquids through the process called convection. So convection of water is, that is, how can you say the convection of water is, When water is heated in a pan, the particles of water which are near the source of heat get heated first. Because of heating, they become light and rise in water. The gap which is created because of rise of hot particles is filled by cold particles from water from the surrounding area. Thus, a cylindrical movement of particle begins and ends up heating the whole water of pan. The cylindrical or the cyclical movement in fluids because of heating is called convection of current. So let's see in diagrammatic way. So here I am having a beaker. So this is beaker which is filled with water. That means till here I filled with water. So now here water it is. From downside, what I am doing means I am heating this water. Now what will happen means when I am heating this water, what will happen means when water is heated in a pan, particles which are near the source of the hot heat, here these particles, it will become light and it will rises upward. Now the particles which are above, it is more heavier than these particles, it will move to the downward. So downside particles will move up and upside particles will move down. That means hot particles will move upside and the particles which are heavier on the top, it will move to the down. Then what will happen means it will cause a cyclic movement which is heating the liquid. Same thing will happen in case of air also. Okay, air gets heated because of convection. The way water gets heated, air near the source of heat gets heated and rises above. Leaves the gap which is filled by the colder air from the surroundings. The convection current thus starts in the air, which results heating up of the air. See, we all know ventilators, where the ventilators are placed in the top of the roof. That means top only it is placed, top of the window. That is, here I am having ventilators. This all is total room. This is ventilator. Okay, so ventilator means, what is ventilator? It will allow the fresh air to come in. Okay, so through this ventilator, outside air will come in. Okay, so here this air is heavier. Okay, now downside people are there, we are using all the air. That means we will use the gas, carbon dioxide, or we will use some air. Okay, this air, it will become hot and it will become light. So the light air will move upside and the fresh air which is heavier, it will move to down, and we will take this fresh air and this light air is replaced or removed from the room. So the process of, that means it is a continuous process, and the continuous process of removing or replacing the fresh air is known as ventilation. Now coming to our next topic is sea breeze and land breeze. Okay, so sea breeze and land breeze. What is sea breeze and what is land breeze is? So one more example is sea breeze. So what is this sea breeze is? Sea breeze occurs in coastal areas. The breeze that moves from sea, that means here I am having two places. This is sea and this is land. And here see, this arrows is indicating in which side it is breeze is blowing. So here during night time, the breeze from the sea, it is blowing towards the land, is known as sea breeze. So this sea breeze, see, in coastal areas, the breeze that moves from sea towards the land is known as sea breeze. This happens because during daytime land gets heated more quickly than the sea, that means water. As a result, warm air, it will rises upward and leaving a gap. To fill the gap, cold air from the ocean, it blows towards the land. This phenomenon continues and continues flow of cold air keeping towards the land. This gives rise to the phenomenon which is called sea breeze. Because of this, people living in coastal areas prefer to live in sea facing house. See, once again I am explaining. Here this is sea and this is land. Okay. During daytime, so from the sun shines equally and the sun shines equally and sea will, that means this water will get equal amount of sunshine and land also will get same. But this land will become faster, it will be heated faster than the water. Now hot air, it will rises to upward and downside the land, it leaves the gap will be there. Okay, so for filling the gap, the air from the sea or from the water, it will blow towards the land and it will fills the gap. That means which one is blowing? It is cold air is blowing. Okay, this is known as sea breeze. Okay, then coming to the land breeze, one more is we are having topic land breeze, that is, so sea breeze, it is during the daytime. Now coming to the land breeze, here again I am having sea and land. Okay, during night time, this land will becomes cold very fast. Now what will happen means the cold air which is the warm air which is above the sea, it will be heated and will rises upward, and the cold air which is above the land, it will blows towards the sea and will occupy that area. Now it forms a land breeze. Okay, so sea breeze, it is occurred during daytime and land breeze during night time. Sea breeze means it is blowing from sea towards the land and land breeze means it is blowing from land to the sea. So coming to our next mode of transference of heat is radiation. So what is radiation is the transfer of heat energy from a cold body to hot body without heating the space between them is known as radiation. That means, so what is radiation means? The transference of heat energy from one body to another body without heating the space between them is known as radiation. So example is sunlight which comes from the sun to the earth, it is because of radiation only, and we can feel warm in the bonfire, standing around the bonfire because of this radiation only. So applications is dark clothes absorb more heat and keep one comfortable in winter. On the other hand, light clothes reflect most of the heat and keep one comfortable in summer. So coming to this, in winter time we will wear dark color clothes. Why? Because means this dark color clothes, it will absorb more light energy and will keep us more hot. Coming to summer we will wear light clothes because light clothes will reflect that. That means the heat energy which falls on that light clothes, it will reflect that light and it will not absorb that light and will keep us cool. Once again I am repeating, dark clothes will absorb, or dark color objects will absorb the heat energy and light color objects will reflect the heat energy. Okay, that is the reason why in winter we will wear the dark color clothes and summer we will wear the light color clothes. Nowadays many of the kitchenware or kitchen utensils, it comes with black color. What is the reason means? Black color means it is dark color, it will absorb the heat energy. So the energy which we are supplying, all the heat energy it will absorb and it will help us in cooking more faster. So this is the completion of our lesson. Once again I am saying, so what are the three modes of transference of heat is? That is conduction, convection and radiation. So these three we can say with some more example. So in one class, so many of the students are sitting. Okay, so now I want to supply chocolates to last bench student also. There are three ways of supplying. First one way is giving one chocolate to the first student and saying to pass to the another. Now what will happen? First student will pass to the second, second to the third, third to the fourth. Like that it will goes to the last student also. Okay, in this case student is not moving. Here also in this process is known as conduction. In this process, all the molecules will transfer the heat. That means without its actual movement. Without moving, it will transfer the heat. Second process is convection. So what is convection is? See, I can say that all of you move from this place, or from last student you come, take the chocolate and again go back to your place. That means here same thing I am saying, heat is transferred with the movement of the particles. Then coming to the third case, so without that particle moving, that means in the last bench student moving, without I am also moving, and without giving the chocolate to the middle students also, directly I can pass that chocolate to the last student. So this is example of radiation and completion of our lesson. Thank you.